The Jaguar I-Pace. It won World Electric Car of the Year. It seemed like it was going to be a huge success, but in recent years, it's actually been a bit of a terrible failure. Low sales and battery fires have plagued its existence to the point where it's barely selling at all. It's now been recalled. In fact, every single one ever built in history has been recalled because there is a significant chance of them setting themselves on fire. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. My name is Sam Evans. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, I am a bit disappointed about the I-Pace. It was such a promising vehicle. I mean, World Car of the Year. Everyone knew about this car. It got so much publicity when it won that award. Rightfully so. It looked good and, it was impressive, very expensive, but a lot of people bought them at the time. And then they stopped. One of the key reasons was for the price, there were better options available. Jaguar did nothing to update it for many years. In fact, it's almost unchanged from when it first came out over 5 years ago. In the last 12 months, there's been around 10 of them have significant battery overload problems. And in every case, it led to the cars burning themselves to the ground. Unfortunately, that's what happens sometimes for new technology. And for Jaguar, it was new technology. What does this all mean? Well, Jaguar Land Rover is the latest manufacturer to deal with the fallout of thermal overloads. And I'll explain what that means in a minute. As around 6,400 US delivered I-Pace crossovers have been recalled. A battery temperature alert system makes up the first part of the fix, though Jaguar Land Rover has said it will replace battery packs free of charge as needed. Now, I personally believe they're not fixing the car at all. I mean, having an alert system is not a fix. Really, they need to change the software on the battery management system, but it doesn't appear as though they've worked out how to do that. Therefore, they're simply putting an alert. If your car's about to burn, I will alert you and we'll let you know. Realistically, I believe it's very likely Jaguar will have to replace every single battery pack in every one of these that they ever sold. That's going to cost them a lot of money. For a company that's struggling and doesn't appear to have a future, in my view at least, considering the position it's in now, it has no electric cars other than this, which barely sells, then that's going to be a tough ask. And if you bought one of these, well, you're now at a significant risk. Really, at some point in the future, if your battery pack hasn't been replaced, it will need to be. At least that's pretty much what Jaguar is admitting. Now, realistically though, to be fair, electric vehicle fires are a well-documented issue. However, from what I've seen, it's much less likely for an EV that has lithium iron phosphate batteries to have a fire. Not impossible, but much less likely. Now, of course, there are very few manufacturers not called Tesla that don't build their cars in China that have lithium iron phosphate batteries. They're starting to catch on now because of BYD and Tesla, who have popularized this battery chemistry. Jaguar Land Rover's battery, of course, was made by, the battery company that has had more battery fires than every other company in the world put together, LG Chem, or as they're now known, LG Energy Solutions. Jaguar is voluntarily recalling 6,400 I-Pace EVs from 2019 through to 2024 model years following 8 customer fires over the last 6 months alone. And I believe there's been another 3 elsewhere, meaning there's been at least 11 that I'm aware of. There could have been more. The company confirms that 100% of US delivered I-Pace models are susceptible to lithium-ion battery thermal overloads, as all were produced at Magna Steyr's Graz vehicle assembly plant in Austria. The battery itself is a 90 kilowatt-hour offering from LG Energy Solutions, as I said before. Now, that's the same battery pack, or the same company that made the batteries, and still does, for the Chevy Bolt and the Bolt EUV. The ones that had to be recalled. They still haven't finished actually replacing all those batteries. I think they're about 70% through. Anyway, that cost General Motors about $1.2 billion. Cost LG Energy Solutions also about another $1.2 billion. They agreed to share the costs. I don't think that's fair on General Motors, but anyway, that's what happened. Also, same thing happened in a number of other electric cars and other models that LG Energy Solutions make the batteries. I personally am a little bit shocked to hear when companies say, hey, we're partnering with LG Energy Solutions. Isn't this great? I don't really understand the benefits to it. I mean, you can just buy lithium iron phosphate batteries straight from BYD and CATL. They have massive production capacity. They're cheaper. The energy density is not much different, maybe 5 to 10% these days. I really don't understand the advantages and why General Motors has decided to build 4 factories with LG Chem. But hey, maybe there's some kind of deal there, and I just don't fully understand those deals because I wasn't privy to whatever GM signed at the time. That said, GM and LG Energy Solutions have had a falling out. GM cancelled the 4th of 4 factories with LG Energy Solutions, and they're now deciding to build a cylindrical type battery, a lot like their Tesla 4680 cell, with a different battery company. In filings with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Jaguar says it first heard of the issue in February 2022 as an internal engineering team analysed batteries that had experienced a thermal overload. By August of 2022, the team had performed field inspections on fire-damaged I-Pace models, though a connection to all I-Pace models wasn't established until March 2023. Even so, Jaguar Land Rover confirmed that no crashes, injuries, or fatalities have occurred due to these battery fires. Well, that's good. I'm glad no one's died. Notably, the first fire was recorded a year after the I-Pace launched in 2018, though a series of recurrent fires happened in the summer of 2021. The most recent fires have occurred within the past 2 months, prompting the company to issue its internal investigation, finding in the form of a recall. I-Pace owners won't be carless for very long though, either, as Jaguar Land Rover has already proposed a fix. Now, before we get to the fix, it's a bit of a challenge here for Jaguar Land Rover because they never even made the cars. They didn't make the battery packs. They didn't have a whole lot to do with them, in fact. Magna Steyr, who are a contract car manufacturer, they make cars for a lot of different companies, made the car itself. And they probably even chose the battery company to make the batteries for these cars. Now Jaguar is just having to kind of clean up the mess for a car that they put their own badges on. I don't know if they did much else with them, to be honest. Anyhow, recalled vehicles will receive an update to the Battery Energy Control Module, or the BECM software that will monitor the battery pack assembly operational status that indicates where the battery contains conditions which may lead to thermal overload. This software provides an enhanced level of driver warnings in relation to battery condition, and where the software determines a risk exists, the high voltage battery charging capacity is limited to 75%. So I believe the most likely thing that will happen is when your car gets recalled, Jaguar Land Rover or Jaguar will actually just throttle the fast charging. Make it so the fast charging is slower, because that's where they believe the biggest risk is for thermal overload in the battery pack. If necessary, Jaguar Land Rover says it will replace the battery pack for free and even reimburse owners who have previously replaced their battery packs for similar issues. So when I heard that, I was a bit concerned. I thought owners have already replaced their battery packs for similar issues, and Jaguar Land Rover has now decided it will reimburse them. Surely if you have a car, an EV that's 5 years or less old, Jaguar should have reimbursed you already if you had to have the battery replaced for this issue. That one got me a bit confused, but that's just from Jaguar Land Rover's press release, so maybe I'm reading this wrong. As manufacturers work on battery technology and on improving energy density, the likelihood of future recalls is pretty significant, unless you have lithium iron phosphate batteries, and then the likelihood is much less significant from what we've seen. However, industry experts and the fire officials in the US say that shouldn't dissuade you from buying an EV, and I totally agree. There's many brands of car that very rarely have fires. One of those these days is Tesla. Now, yes, there's been a fair few fires in Tesla cars, but considering the numbers of EVs that Tesla have sold, it's a very small percentage. Tiny, in fact. A lot less than the fires we've seen in gasoline cars over that same period of time. Now, I made a video not that long ago saying the Jaguar I-Pace was dead because it was selling about, one a month, minuscule sales numbers. Well, now I'd say it's officially dead. But hey, you never know, I could be wrong. Maybe they'll reinvent it and it'll have an amazing rebirth of some sort. But I think that's pretty unlikely. They still cost a lot of money. Over $90,000 US. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.